Yes, we will be talking about Starfield today. However, we've got a great show for you. Aside from a little Starfield talk, we'll be talking to the one and only from the Iron Lords podcast, Mr. Lord Cognito. Right,
oh, bro.
Enough of that. So
you don't rope it out for me, bro.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome everybody to Games Talk Live. We're going to be talking a little bit about Starfield for sure, but as the title suggests, but today I'm very happy to welcome back Lord Cognito from the Iron Lords podcast, from the Defining Duke podcast. Let's not forget, he's part of Last Stand Media as well. This man is just getting everywhere, and I knew it from day one when I met this guy. When I first heard this guy, before I even met him, I go, wow. Why isn't anybody watching the Iron Lords back in the day? I was just like, what's going on here? And now they went from 10 to 15 viewers a show to like 1,000 plus sometimes. You guys got it, man. Welcome.
Bro, first of all, Fonz, you know it's love. You family. And, thank you for that, because it always grounds me when I talk to you, because I remember those conversations like, yo, we ain't getting the love, and no one's listening to us, and you be like, yo, bro, y'all got something. You used to tell me like, bro, it's crazy. I can't believe, like, why are people not listening to you guys? And I really appreciate you, brother. You have no idea. Like, I'm the type of person I don't forget anything, and you were one of them ones, man. Always from the beginning. Always appreciate the support. You're from the RDX days to what you're doing now. So it's love, man, and it's good to be here. It's good to talk with you. I know my schedule crazy, but it's good to be here. Talk with
you don't know how many times I'm like, Cog, can you do the show? Can you do the show? Well, I can't really right now because I'm under, this, and I can't really do any podcasts right now. And then it went to, I've got so much on my plate right now. And I'm like, don't worry. I'll wait. Because I know we've been good friends for a while. We've been talking for a long time, behind the scenes, everything else. And that's one thing I take away from all of this stuff. Like you can have the YouTube stuff and whatever, but at the end of the day, I love being, good friends with a lot of good people out there. And you're definitely one of them. And thank you for being here. We've got so many good people in our chat today too, as well. There's so many amazing people that stop by. I don't have a large viewership like Iron Lords, but what I do have is some great freaking people that come here and watch or listen. And honestly, I wouldn't be here without them. They're amazing people. The supporters are just amazing. Supporters like Brigadier's Blue, who threw in a $5 super chat, as he does every week, by the way. He does this every week, and most of the time he can't stick around. He's like, it's GTL Sunday. Let's go, baby. Looking forward to this episode with Lord Cog and Fonz. It's going to be a doozy. Wow. I don't know if he's going to be sticking around today, because he usually watches after the fact because he's got to work or something. But if you're here today, Brigadiers, thank you. Or if you're not, even thank you. I appreciate you either way. But yes, I got a little bit of a different look around here. I changed up the overlays because I just, I wanted some change here. Sometimes you just want to change things up.
Switch it up a little bit.
Yeah. So Cognito,
bro?
How does it feel, man? Going from the ILP to getting tapped on the shoulder by Last Stand Media and now doing things with them. And I knew you had a big event the other night, so you just got back from that. How did that go? The Last Stand Media event?
Bro, it's fantastic. Like, LSM fam, like, I don't think they get enough credit for like an amazing community. You know what I'm saying? Like, we at the Lords, we got like one of the best communities. I'm super proud of that. But like LSM from day one, since I joined, like, they completely embrace me. They allow me to be me. I'm not, having to change or act different. Maddie, Mr. Maddie Play, shout out to him. He's the one that had the vision. He's the one that, made the phone call. And then obviously Colin, I've always had respect for him. Obviously me and Colin don't agree on everything. But the thing about him is that, like, he this is what me and him share. We're open to listening to the opposite side respectfully.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing I don't think he gets enough credit for. And then Ray Gunn, that boy is just straight up stand-up comedian. He's like hilarious to me. Fellow Halo guy, fellow Destiny guy, kind of thing. And then you have Dustin, those little JRPG. And then me and him got some pockets with Final Fantasy and stuff like that. And the whole team, Dagan, his brother, and it's, of course, the man.
Hold up. Which Final Fantasy is that?
He's
which
Final
one?
Fantasy 7, sir.
Final Fantasy 7. I agree.
Superior.
Sir. I agree.
Superior Final
I agree.
Fantasy.
And with that, you get a ding. All right, because we will be playing that 5 questions in a little bit.
Oh boy,
it went away for a little while, but it's back by popular demand. I know some people don't like it, but you're gonna have to deal with it because other people are like, "Where's my 5 questions? I love 5 questions. Bring it back." Let's back.
Go. We got some fun.
So we will be playing with that. But no, Last Stand Media continue. It's you guys have been doing a great thing there. Of course, ILP. You guys had on the legend Cliffy B last week. If you guys didn't check that out, you have to check that episode out. It's a really good one.
Yeah, thank you, bro. That was a surreal moment. We talked, in the pre-show. That's a bucket list item. Cliffy B is one of our heroes. Like for me, that's what put the stamp on the 360. I remember seeing that Mad World. I was getting emotional. Like, yo, what game is that? What is that? Unreal 3. And then just to hear his journey, the era of the Rockstar developer. He's one of the OGs of that, where the developers got his face out and he's talking that talk. Like he's part of that era. Young kid, brash. So just to see his journey where he's at, and then Fonz, me and you hip hop. Once I found out Cliffy was hip hop, then me and him spitting nice T-balls. We talk, you know what I mean? We going back to New Jack Hustler and we spit. I'm like, yo, he has so much respect when we was doing that. I was like, yo, this is my guy right here. He's himself 100%. And
that's awesome. It was awesome to see.
Proud.
Yeah, it was really awesome to see. But you're here today on Games Talk Live. And we're going to be talking. Well, first, before we talk about that stuff, guys, we're just going to go ahead and get into it. Why don't we just go ahead and get into a little 5 questions? Yep, we're going to get into it here, people, because the man is back, and he's bringing back the 5 questions with him. Because what better way to bring it back? Lord Cognito, it's so good to have you, man. It's really good to have you. Of course, these 5 questions are going to be, there's one subjective. The rest of them are just your 4 standard gaming trivia questions, sir. But first, of course, we got to start the music. Can't start it without the music. Here's your first question. This unreleased VR headset would have been the first to be released for a gaming console in the early 90s. Can you name the company that decided not to release it?
Early 90s? That didn't release?
It would have came out before the Virtual Boy. It would have been before that.
I was going to go with that. That came out. Damn, I would have figured this is already
They didn't release this. They decided not to.
Bro, I am literally blanking. I'm going to fail this one right here off the rip. Damn, what virtual headset that didn't come out from, I'm thinking of the majors. Okay, you said early 90s though?
Yeah, early 90s.
Nah, this is still before.
This was around 91.
Yo, I'm stumped right now. Oh, I'm flunking. I completely.
I need a guess, sir.
All right, this is completely wrong. Because this is before HoloLens. I'm wrong, so I'm off with this one. You gonna have to tell me this. I already wear HoloLens, and that's an L.
All right. For some reason, my buzzer is not working. Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is. I've had a delayed buzzer. Anyways, it is Sega with a Sega VR. Sega VR was going to be announced back in '91, and it was going to work with the Mega Drive, and of course, the Mega Drive here was the Genesis. So. Yeah, they were going to have a headset. They would have been the first to have VR, and they just decided not to do it.
Quick question: didn't they had 3D? They had the Mass System had the 3D joint, the 3D glasses, but that's not considered VR. Okay, but you're right. Might be the first VR. Yeah, that's a great one. I never knew this. This is news to me.
Yeah, yep. So here is question number 2. BioShock released for all major platforms, including the Xbox 360 on August 21st of this year. What year was this? What year did BioShock release?
It's the year that I believe is considered the greatest in gaming. Damn, what year was that now? I'm gonna fail today. This is just bad. I'm going like 0 for 5 today. Damn it. The year that and I'm not Googling, so we're not doing this. So I'm just gonna go off the top. 20, 2012, 2015. I'm messed up, bro. Where we at?
2007. 2007. Some people had it in the chat. I saw Purple Tree Frog, but thank you for not looking at the chat and cheating, sir. You're doing...
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying not to. That's why I'm like...
It happens, man. I can't do any trivia questions on the spot. I'm terrible at it, so I understand. You didn't do this bad last time, though. The first time you were here. You didn't do this bad. In 2014, Activision resurrected some game franchises from this well-known studio, including a new game in the classic King's Quest series. Can you name this studio?
All right.
Activision resurrected some of these game franchises from this studio. Big, popular PC studio from back in the day. Okay. And King's Quest was one of their games.
Oh, wait, isn't that, what you call it? Isn't that From? From and they did, I think those were the original guys that did King's Quest.
Are you sure, sir? Is that your answer?
I'm gonna have to roll with it. It's probably wrong again, but I'm gonna have to roll.
Sierra Entertainment. Do you remember Sierra? Sierra was huge back in the day, 80s and 90s, all the way up to the early 2000s. Then Vivendi kind of took over, and then Vivendi was bought out by Activision. Activision resurrected some of the Sierra games back in 2014, and the rest is history. Sierra, I don't think they're making games today, though. I don't.
Damn, the 0 for 5.
You guys, yeah.
You know what? Lag. This is fresh off the plane. Okay. I'm not right.
It's okay. Maybe you can get number 4.
Oh, geez,
here's number 4.
Let's go.
In the classic basketball game, NBA Jam, how many players are on each team?
Oh, come on. 2v2.
Yes, you finally got it. Yes.
Yeah, like we getting normal questions.
All right. You're getting normal questions.
Don't give me that.
Hey, some people were telling me back in the day the questions were too easy sometimes.
Oh, gosh, you just
okay. You want to get some harder ones in there. All right. So here's one. I'm going to shut the music off. This is just, an opinionated answer here. Nintendo or Sega?
I'm on Sega all day, man. Genesis does what Nintendo. That's what we do.
I'll accept that answer. but tell the good people why you chose Sega over Nintendo.
It's always Sega over Nintendo. For me, I'm a kid of the arcade. And as great as Nintendo was and is, the difference for me is my introduction to gaming was my dad taking me to the arcades, the dark rooms and lights. And Sega ruled that. I remember seeing the motorcycle that you get on, and that became Hang On, right? I remember driving the steering wheel with the haptic feedback before everybody. When you get on the dirt, that was Outrun. You know what I'm saying? I remember my namesake, Shinobi, the ninja game, the craze of the 80s, and just everything about that game. It was kind of like the Dark Souls of its time in the sense of like one life, anything hits you, you're out of here. It was really challenging. And yeah, like that Sega era, which then led to AM2, and then they got into the consoles, obviously, and all that stuff. But they meant so much to me. Sega is my lifeblood. I have the utmost respect for Nintendo because I didn't really know about Nintendo until I went to my cousin's house. And I was like, damn, it's kind of Mike Tyson punch. That's kind of fire. Like, you know what I mean? You check out like, oh wow, this Mario is kind of, then I realized what I was missing. So I came into it with Sega loyalty just off of everything in the arcade. And at a young age, that's what I also knew, that the arcade and the console port wasn't the same.
Yes.
you learned at a very young age, you're like, this ain't exactly the same thing, but I'm going to rock with it.
It was still good.
Yeah,
it was still good. It was similar for me, but for me, it was Nintendo that I owned. And then I didn't get a Sega till later. I didn't have a Master System, but my cousin did. So we were always playing each other's console and stuff. So I got to play the Alex Kids and all those other games over there and the Shinobis and everything. But Nintendo, I think, was the first platform for me that really really, really put video games on the map. I had my Ataris. I loved them. Don't get me wrong. So a lot of those games I really loved as a child, the Pac-Man, all that. But it wasn't until Nintendo where I was actually like wowed by games. Like, look at these graphics. Look at this. You know, look at the Ninja Turtles. When the Ninja Turtles dropped on the NES, remember that? The Ninja Turtles game? It looked amazing to us back then. We're like, what is this? How did they put this onto the console? You know, but, and then I got a Sega, of course, a Genesis, and that blew me away. Like, I freaking love Genesis. Genesis was, oh man, amazing. I love the Saturn too. A lot of people didn't like the Saturn. I loved it. I thought it was a great console. Dreamcast is still my all-time favorite console.
Yeah,
still
Dreamcast
to this day.
Oh yeah, it aged very well. Absolutely,
very well. Moving on, let's go ahead. Thank you for playing 5 questions, by the way, and everybody in the chat as well. I saw you all out there. Some of you had some of the right answers and stuff, so it was pretty awesome to see. Appreciate you. But yeah, some people told me, yeah, that's my worst part of the show. That's the one thing I don't like is the 5 questions. And I'm like, you know what? I've heard from so many more people telling me that they love it. Bring it back. So,
bro, a wise man once told me, when I was thinking about not doing intros, you got to stick with that. Yeah, I remember a wise man told me.
Well, a wise man? No, he wasn't very wise. But
Jay Fonzarelli said, "Cog, that is what you are. We love that. Don't you stop.
We love it. We love it. Don't stop it." Exactly. The intros that you do are incredible. Nobody touches the Lord Cognito intro. Nobody. The introducing is the best thing ever, man. I love it. Nobody can do it. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the PSVR 2.
Yes, sir.
PSVR 2, it has arrived, folks. But guess what hasn't? The games. Apparently, for many, the games just aren't there yet. I've watched a lot of reviews from bigger YouTubers and stuff. I purposely, Cog, looked outside of this community for YouTube reviews and stuff to try to see and to be fair for this, because I'm not a big VR fan, and that's only because I can't utilize it. I can't use it. I've got motion sickness issues. As soon as I put that joint on, I'm sick, bro. I'm done. So I can't use VR. So in my jealous rage, I've talked against VR in a lot of ways. But no, I don't hate VR. I think it's really cool, the concept and everything. But I've watched a lot of reviews, and it seems that a lot of people are just not happy with the game selections right now. I think that's the biggest thing. GT7 seems to be the one spot where everybody's like, yeah, that's great to play GT7, Gran Turismo, of course. And a lot of people are having fun with that. But everything else, they're kind of just like, the eye tracking and stuff's not being utilized. Like, nothing here is brand new. It's nothing outside of, say, even the Quest 2. There's no real differences yet with these games. I don't know. What have you seen?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen mixed. I've seen it where like people from a tech perspective love what they're doing in the space, love the new features as far as at that price point comparatively to what the most highest end headset is. They really offered a lot. Now, the thing comes down to one, obviously it's a tethered experience. You have to have a PlayStation 5. So that's off the bat. And then the second thing comes down to what you said, which is the game. So Horizon Call of the Mountain, I'm very curious. I do have it. I didn't get a chance to unbox it. Literally, my shipment came right when my flight was like the next morning to go to the LSM event. So I didn't get a chance to get the unboxing.
They should name that Climb of the Mountain, because that seems like that's all you do is just basically climb. I see people doing this the whole time, bro, just climbing.
Saul did play it. He did say there's a lot of climbing. There's a lot of climbing in it. Yeah. But I guess for me, it was more like I want to see the vision of it is I want to see what Sony's first party output, if they truly get behind it with their titles, how can it push off? But to your point, there has been, some pushback that, hey, you guys got, there are over 30 plus games, but most of these games already exist in the space. Obviously they exist in Quest, they got Demio, they got them, which I'm telling a lot of PlayStation VR owners to try specific games because they actually have cross-platform. But I think it's early. I think right now, we're probably still waiting for some more definitive experiences that are exclusive from PSVR 2. And I just think that we have to see. My only concern is the commitment from Sony on a peripheral level, because me and you, we OGs, we've been around when they announce a lot of peripherals. We've been through the PSP, we've been through the Vita, we've been through, the PSVR 1. So my thing is the commitment. Do we see them through it? Do they continue to bolster their first party lineup with it? Then I'll,
Well, were
be a
they
little bit
pretty
more
committed
convinced.
to the PSVR, the first one?
Yeah, I mean, it started off strong, but I mean, I remember King had it, and trust me, like you, at that time, I wasn't really a VR believer, and the reason being is I believe they converted the Move sticks,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
so they wasn't really a dedicated VR. They utilized the camera. To me, it was like you're utilizing old stuff and repurposing it, and then adding a VR headset to it, as opposed to really making a traditional VR experience like they have now. Like, so that's how I looked at it. So I never
Hmm.
got on, but people like the game offerings actually back then. Like Iron Man the game, which was, I believe, launched originally with PSVR 1. I'm now playing it on Quest. And I can't front, Fonz, that is a great game. That, like,
Nice.
you feel like Iron Man, like you're in there. It has a story, it has a narrative. It's really good. You know what I'm saying? So that was one of their original games, kind of thing. So I just want to see more original Sony experiences with it, and then I can judge. But the verdict's out. It's young. We'll see.
Yeah, and most of the pros seems to stem from the OLED screens itself. That it looks really good. You got the deep blacks of OLED and all that stuff. The one thing that I saw a bunch of people talk about was this. I don't know what exactly to call it, but it's kind of a screen defect. This Mura, they call it Mura. It's
Yeah.
a TV screen defect that I've seen in TV screens before, and it's kind of like this. Where their areas of the screen are kind of like there'll be blotches of like film grain, and it'll
Mm,
be in darker areas, and you'll see this. If you see it, you can't really take your eyes off of it.
off of it. Mm,
And a lot of people were having this issue with some of the units. Some people a little bit more than others. And I think it's one of those things that if you're susceptible to screen uniformity issues on TVs and stuff, you're going to see it here. And it's a problem for some people. I've seen, I went to Reddit and I've seen a lot of people posting about it and
yeah.
complaining about it and saying that the clarity just isn't there because of this.
Mm,
So that would be a problem for me if I could use VR. If I seen something like that, I would definitely, because even on my TVs, when I buy TVs and stuff, and I notice that there's some sort of defect on the screen, my eye
yeah.
immediately goes to it. It doesn't
Same.
matter what kind
Same.
of scene it is or whatever. Boom, I see it, and I just can't deal, and I have to
Yeah. I'm the
return
same
that
way.
sucker. It's just
Yeah. I'm the same
yeah.
way. I'm the same way,
Yeah,
brother.
like
I know
dirty
what you mean.
screen. Yeah, somebody was saying DSE, dirty screen effect. That as well. Like
Mhm.
I can't stand that kind of stuff. But that's definitely a situation where it's good to put that out there because it's buyer beware. That there are issues with some of the screens, the uniformity issue. You could have that issue. Also, battery life is all over the place. Apparently, some people were saying that it was like an hour and a half to 2 hours. Some people were saying they get up to 6 hours with these batteries
Mm,
in the controllers.
yeah.
I don't know who to believe exactly, but I've seen different reviews, and these people don't seem like they're fanboys for one or the other.
Mhm.
And it's all over the place, like between 2 and 6 hours. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I've seen that too. I've seen, shout out to Lords of Gaming.net. I've seen people was talking about a potential like syncing issue with one of the controllers and stuff like that. It doesn't the right one doesn't sync once you launch a game.
Yeah,
So I think there's like the growing pains when you first have a launch. Maybe there's like a tell update, there's a patch update that comes out from a firmware
maybe.
standpoint on the hardware. So we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens with it. But you know what? Enough about VR. We're moving on because I can't take too much of VR, but VR talk anyway. But we're going to stick with Sony. We're going to stay with Sony a little bit. We're going to be talking about the latest state of play. It was a huge hit. Amazing. 10 out of 10. Everybody loved this state of play, right? Am I right? Yes, everybody loved it. No, I'm kidding. Nobody loved it. Cog, was there anything they showed in this 43-minute state of play that hyped you at all?
Outside of my Destiny love, I guess Suicide Squad, I wasn't as hard as everyone. Not that it was like amazing, because I see some things that they're doing with it that I'm like, okay, this is not gonna sit well with a lot of people. But as far as Destiny, man, that was the best trailer for me. I think prior to this state of play, the Bungie trailers for Lightfall didn't have me as hyped as I was for Witch Queen. And this one really felt kind of a little Avengers, Infinity War, like the threat of the
Mhm.
witness is here as you have it so gloriously on the screen right now. It's just looking glorious right now. And this is when I'm like, okay, he's here, he's a threat. And for the first time, the Traveler is in trouble and under duress. And we have that classic thing where the Traveler rises up, which is the original picture for Destiny 1. And then we have Neo Muna, as you can see, the Cloud Striders. I mean, it is really what Bungie is doing with this cyberpunk like theme and this different type of energy aesthetically. I'm really feeling it. And for the first time, I felt the threat. So I'm like, let's go. This is setting up towards the end of the Light and Dark saga. So I want to know where they go before the next big expansion, which is called Final Shape. And yeah, man, I'm hyped. Destiny always got me. And for expansions, new strand power. We're kind of doing our Insomniac Spider-Man swinging. That should change the gameplay. I'm looking for that. Hunters are looking really fire with that. They kind of got this little ninja rope thing
Well,
going
do
on.
you think that okay, so as I look at the gameplay, because this right now is just, CGI,
Yeah.
Nonsense, let's call it. It's fluff. Okay. It's to get you hype. And I'm good with that. But the actual gameplay of Destiny 2, it seems like, do you feel like the engine's getting a little long in the tooth? Maybe it's a little bit
You
behind
preaching.
other engines right now?
No, you're preaching. I'm with you on this. Like, look, the Tiger engine, God bless. It's very adaptable. They've been able to do a lot, but I think the biggest holdup right now is holding on to the old generation consoles. Still holding on to the PS4, still holding on to the Xbox One. Like, at some point, once the install base of these new consoles are there, they've got to move on. The fact that they have to keep developing for the lowest common denominator, you can't tell me, I don't see a difference, that you can't improve even further. So I'm with you there.
When are they locked or not locked into that? Do they have a date, or is it?
No
Are they going to
date.
keep?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Finish your question.
Yeah, I was going to say, are they just going to keep making it for the old consoles? Or, I mean, there's got to be some point where they're going to stop developing for them.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, at the end of the day, they came up with this thing called the Destiny content vault. And that's when they were kind of like, that's when I knew they were like, hey, the game's getting too big and we have to, put some stuff away and then we'll bring it back and repurpose it. Once I started to see that, you can't sustain the entire game of Destiny with these old consoles. And then coupled with the fact there's these iterative engine updates, they need to drop the old consoles. And I would love a Destiny 3 per se, even though Bungie right now seems a little resistant to saying that. I mean, I would love that. Destiny 3 with dedicated servers and actually a new engine really pushing it forward, because I think, they're towards the end of this engine. There's no doubt. So I'm with you there.
Yeah. No, that's the way I see it too. Aside from that, I watched this state of play after the fact. I didn't watch it that day. I was at work, but I watched it the other day, and I watched it in its entirety from start to finish. And I thought it was just a bad show. It wasn't very good. A lot of VR stuff, a lot of stuff I don't care to even see. Let's talk about one that a lot of people were discussing. This is Baldur's Gate 3. Let's talk about Baldur's Gate. Now, Baldur's Gate is a game that, of course, a lot of people are looking forward to, but there was a little bit of controversy at first, because when it was showed on the screen there at the state of play, it was only shown to have PlayStation 5 and PC at launch. It was only releasing for those two platforms. And so a lot of Xbox dudes was like, where's my Baldur's Gate? What's going on with that? Is there exclusivity, an exclusive deal going on between PlayStation and, Larian Studios? And they were going at Larian with pitchforks.
Bro.
And Larian, mind you, they were kind of vague at first, saying, no, there's no exclusivity here, none of that stuff going on. But they wouldn't come out and say what happened. Now, here's the funny thing. And I said this to people behind the scenes too. I had heard behind the scenes that there was technical issues going on with the game. And that's why it's not being announced. I didn't want to come out and say that, look like a guy that was wrong or whatever, or spreading rumors. So instead, when I saw Xbox dudes talking about it, I said, instead of saying, hey, I heard it's this, I just said, hey, maybe it's technical issues, guys. Just wait.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, the next day, Larian drops this. And this quote here on Baldur's Gate, it says, thanks for all the hype and enthusiasm following yesterday's announcement that Baldur's Gate 3 is coming to PS5 day and date with the PC on August 31st. Xbox players, we've seen your questions. No, you've seen the pitchforks. That's what you saw. It wasn't just questions. They weren't very friendly, and I'm sorry about that, Larian. Some of these fanboys can get quite crazy out there. But anyways, it says, when you can expect Baldur's Gate 3 on Xbox, we've had an Xbox version of Baldur's Gate 3 in the works for some time, but we have run into some technical issues, particularly with the split screen co-op. So apparently it's something to do with the split screen co-op. I think that's what's going on here. He says, we are still working on the Xbox version. They're just not confident enough to announce it yet until they get things right. Okay, basically you can read the rest there, but that's basically their answer. And I thought that was a pretty good answer. And that's exactly what I heard behind the scenes. So thanks to this person that told me this behind the scenes, because it kind of eased my mind when I heard it from him too. And I was just like, okay, it's still coming to Xbox, but we just don't know when yet.
Yeah.
We have no idea. It could be day one, but it might not be. And that might be a problem for a lot of people. If you think about it, if it doesn't hit day one, that's a huge miss. That's a huge miss, man. Go ahead.
No, big time. I mean, I think that, look, we got to be real. Like, when we heard the announcement, if you're a fan of the Xbox platform, you roll your eyes at first. You go, oh, here we go again, right? It's going to be maybe like a Final Fantasy VII remake situation, or there's some type of locked exclusivity. So salute to Larian for jumping out in front and putting that part to bed first. Like, no, there is an Xbox version. Because sometimes even with these contracts, contractually, sometimes if there was a deal, they wouldn't even be allowed. You know how they hit you with the, we could only talk about the platforms at this time. That kind of thing. You get that kind of verbiage, that kind of language. So once I didn't see that and they actually confirmed the existence of an Xbox version, I'm like, okay, cool. Then the second thing becomes, okay, well, why isn't it ready? What's going on? So now they say, technical issue. They say co-op. And it looks like there's also like a local co-op aspect from what I understand.
Split screen. Well. Yeah.
Yes. So that is a technical challenge. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm taking their word for it on this one. I mean, I know a lot of
let me ask you real quick about that split screen co-op. Do you think that this might have anything to do with Little Man Series X?
Listen, I'm not going to be ignorant and say that it's impossible that Little Man has anything to do with it, but I will say that local co-op really isn't done anymore, bro. No, you have to be real really. From a development standpoint. You know how I know? If I go on like little trips or something like that, and I'm bringing over to like non-gamers, a lot of times I'll bring the Switch, bro, because let me tell you why. The Switch, from a local standpoint, you can play. I know the graphic fidelity, Fonz. I know, fix your face. But at the end of the day, from a local co-op perspective, Switch is the most capable out of all of them. All their games usually have that inherent 4-player or co-op ability. Most modern next-gen console games like PlayStation, that local co-op is not really there anymore. It's a rare feature. So there's a part of me that, yes, we could say, yo, Little Man, it's got to be a problem. They're the only one with the double skew, bro. And look, it could be. I'm not going to say it's not. Yeah. But I am going to take the word, because the reason why I'm saying that is that Larry and that, I forgot homie's name, Cromwell or whatever, he's outside on Twitter. Anytime someone says, yo, the Series S is the one to fall, he'll be like, nope, that's not what our statement said.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a part of me that's like, the way he's going so hard. And here's the last reason why part of me maybe doesn't believe it's Little Man, is because we got to be real too. Like, this game is coming out to PlayStation and PC. PC has lower spec configurations that they have to make available than the Series S. And they're showing what those minimum and those requirements are. So it's either one, the co-op issue is just really, really taking some technical issues to figure out on Xbox as a console, or two, we got to give credit. I know King ain't like that. He ain't like when I said this on IOP today. I was like, we could say that maybe PlayStation is a little easier to develop for. No
Yeah,
one's ever talking about this. I'm
yeah.
not saying from a power standpoint, but
No, no,
Fonz,
no. I've heard that too. I've heard that it's more streamlined to develop for
yeah,
than the Series X or Series S. But that said, man, we still shouldn't be seeing discrepancies in performance issues with
I agree.
multiplats like we're
I
getting
agree.
today. Hogwarts, for instance, or even Atomic Heart. We shouldn't be seeing the PlayStation 5 outperform
Mm,
the Series X. It makes no sense because on paper, one is stronger than the other. But I just don't know the ins and outs of, the technical side of getting these games developed and stuff and what they need to do to, iron everything out for both consoles. I don't understand that. I know they
yeah,
usually design games around the lead platform first.
that is
So, and
true
that would
too.
be probably the PlayStation 5, most likely for most games.
Yeah, no, the thing I wanted to add on, I'm glad you said that because the thing I wanted to add on is we also come from, the 360 PS3 era. And remember, the cell processor was said to be more powerful. It was a more powerful console than the 360, but that power PC of that 360 was easier to develop for. Again, I'm not saying that that's the hard
Yeah.
case here. It is definitely, but I'm not a developer, so I don't know what the technical hurdle is, but clearly there seems to be something because if the Series X and S consoles, right, and even the Series S, we've seen when a patch comes out, or they even have
Yep.
more
Yep.
120 frames per second games than PlayStation 5 currently. So it's like we've seen the potential of the system. It could be from a configuration standpoint, getting to that metal, whether it be tools, dev kits, whatever, it's still a challenge for some devs. And then the last thing I'll say is one thing I have noticed is not, and this is no disrespect to Larry, that not all dev studios are created equal. Also, there are some teams that are just way better at getting the most out of the hardware. So we'll see. Hopefully, they will put this to rest and be able to
Yeah.
resolve the technical issue and make the launch, like you said.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Mhm.
Outside of that, though, the other thing I was looking at with this state of play. First, let me get to some of these super chats real quick.
Yes,
I've got
sir.
some super chats that have been waiting a while. I've got Mr. Moneybag97. Thank you for the $5. He says, Cog, why Addict never said Pony Brap, his brother, LOL, love y'all Starfield. Love y'all Starfield.
What's
Cog,
going
why
on?
Addict never said Pony Brap, his brother.
I don't know what's going on. I'll be trying to keep the peace in these streets. I don't know what's happening.
What's going on? So is he calling? I assume he's talking about Brap,
Yeah, it
Basement
must be.
Radio Arcade Podcast,
Mm,
calling him a pony. Love y'all, Starfield. I don't know what he's talking about exactly because I don't know what the beef is there or
me
what's
neither.
going on with Addict. If you
Yeah,
could elaborate, Money, I'll listen to you. But
yeah. Give us some
yeah,
bars.
appreciate you. We also got Game Bread with the $5 super chat. He's just throwing it out there saying, hey, here's $5. Go buy yourself a new wardrobe or life or whatever. And I'll do so, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Mhm.
Legendary Drops, $5 super chat. This is from Ian from Legendary Drops. He says, my frustrations with people sleeping on Baldur's Gate 3 are killing me. It's like everyone forgot Divinity. Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Literally got perfect scores everywhere. He's right. It did get
Yeah.
perfect scores.
Oh yeah.
Look, Larian Studios is a good team, and people know them for their RPGs and stuff, and they're really solid.
Mhm.
I don't think people are really sleeping on it. I think a lot of Xbox dudes really do want to play it. My very
Facts.
first Baldur's Gate game was on the Xbox. That's where I
Mm,
played it.
nice.
So I'm looking forward to playing it. However, I may be playing it on the PlayStation 5 at this point if everything seems to run better over there. That's been a frustration for me because I want to buy the games where they run best. And I always
Yeah.
assumed that would be the X, right? So
Mhm.
I've been buying my games on the X because, of
Mhm.
course, why wouldn't I assume that? It's the most powerful console. It's
Mhm.
billed as that. It's been pushed as that. So
Mhm.
I'm definitely going to do that. But I've seemed to, every time I've done it, I've looked back and I'm like, okay, well, why is it running better on the PlayStation 5? What's going on
Mm.
here? And it's
Yeah,
frustrating.
I
So
hear you.
I may just pick that up on the PlayStation 5 instead because yeah, it seems to be going that way. Wo
Mm.
Long is another game that they're talking about now running better on the PlayStation 5. Early
Really? Oh wow.
reports.
Oh wow. I didn't hear that.
So
Wow.
yeah. So, and you know, they got Game Pass deals with some of these games, and they're running better on the PlayStation 5.
Mm.
I don't get it.
No, it's a good point. It's a good point. And these are the questions, like I said, if I have Lord Jason Ronald back in the realm again, I want to talk to him. I
Yes,
mean,
yes. And
what's going on with
you
the
know, I'm not
discrepancy
going to
there?
say anything, but I've been talking to certain people behind the scenes, and I've been
Hmm.
trying to get answers for things from people,
Yeah.
some people high up. So
Hmm.
we'll see, But I need to know, because I hate making purchases and then feeling kind of
Mm.
remorse
Oh, so
afterwards.
we got the buyer's remorse already?
Well, I always want the best versions of the
Okay.
games, right?
Mhm.
And it really irritates me that if I don't get the best version, I'm like,
Mhm.
part of me is like, did I miss out? Did I miss out? I mean, I'm not saying I missed out with Hogwarts. No, I had a great time with it. I had little hiccups here and there, but then I see the PlayStation 5 version didn't have those little hiccups here and there. And I'm like, well,
No,
what's going on?
I hear you.
Like,
I will
it's not
say
right.
yeah, from what I see, I don't know whatever the ratio is. Let's just say anecdotally it's like 60-40% that I see the Series X and the S version, run better. And then there's a strong 40% that I see the PlayStation 5 running better. But to your point, where this is where I do agree with you in the sense that when your marketing is billed as we are the most powerful
Yep.
console,
Yep.
then I expect that disparity to be greater. Not that PlayStation 5 can never win a head-to-head, but I'm with you. So whatever
Yeah,
this
and
issue is, whether
it's
it's
not about, look, I want one console to win over the
right,
other. When one is clearly more powerful, you should have the clear winner there when it comes to
right,
multiplats, at
right.
least, because I
And
love my PlayStation exclusives. I love their
mhm,
games, and
mhm,
I'm always going to buy their games.
yeah.
But if I'm going to choose where I'm going to buy my multiplats at, I'm hoping it's
Mhm.
on the more powerful console, whichever that
Oh, for
is.
sure. And in fairness, I have seen a lot where the Series X has been the superior in resolution or frames, whatever.
Yeah, there's
But
been a little, yeah, a little,
it's
a
like,
little.
look, come on, Fonz. We ain't gonna
Well,
do
here's the
all
thing.
the
Here's the thing.
time.
The only time where they ever win, they lose on performance too, because they get more
Mm,
resolution. They
mhm,
lose on performance. They get more frames that
mm.
dip, and it's just
I'm
like
against it.
a give and take there. But if they're
Mm,
on a level resolution playing field, let's say,
mhm.
why is the PlayStation 5 winning? That makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I'm not here to give you some kind of conspiracy or anything
Oh, of course
like
not.
that. For me, I just really want to know why. Period.
Absolutely. I'm the same way. My thing is, I just want to know what's going on. If you speak to the devs, you speak to people getting behind the metal, what is the cause of frustration? Is it
Yeah.
the devs kits? Is it the Series S? What is it? Is Sony
Yeah.
the lead platform? Don't have the answer, but
Yeah.
I know what you mean though. Because when you buy that console for that purpose and you're
And
not winning the majority of your
yeah,
matchups,
yeah.
then I get you.
Because
I get
because I'll buy the game day one, and
you. Mhm.
sometimes Digital Foundry don't come out with their analysis till days later.
I feel that.
So, I never know until I've already bought it. But Mark from Legendary Drops, thank you very much, man, for the $5. He says, it's hard to pass up on 175 million potential customers. I think he's alluding to Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, I definitely think it's coming. They've already stated it's in the works, and I'm excited to play with you guys. I told Legendary Drops I would play some Baldur's Gate with them, so I'll definitely do that. Colt Eastwood, my very good friend Colt Eastwood's in the house. Thank you very much for the $10 super chat, buddy. Didn't have to do that, but he says there's something off when a high spec PC is getting outperformed by a $500 PS5. It's not hardware. It's not a hardware issue. It's likely the port process.
Could be.
Could be. Could be.
Could be. Mhm.
But again, I would like to know the answer to these things.
Yeah.
And the Legendary Drops and the rest of you saying, well, the best versions are always going to be on PC. Not at the start. Y'all got a lot of unoptimized games at the start. All the time, it seems like you guys are fighting this, fighting that, get new drivers, get new that. But I know what you're saying. In the end, you guys always have the best ports. It's always
Yes.
the best place to play. You get the high graphic fidelity. You get ray
Mhm.
tracing and everything else. I get it, but I'm just not a PC gamer. Just
I
not.
feel you.
I like my consoles. I've always loved consoles. Even when I PC gamed, I always missed my console. Like
Yes.
I love it. Like
Yeah, same with me.
I don't
Me
know.
and you in
It's
that
just
same pocket. All in one shop, ease of use,
yeah. It's just
and less configuration issues. Now granted, PC Master Race, we get it. Once it's configured and we know it's the highest fidelity. But some people just want that plug and play, just want to pop and you don't want to deal with nothing. You don't want to, you know what I mean? So,
Exactly. Another game that they showed a state of play. Why is it not working here? What's going on? It's not showing up. It's not showing up, people.
We're going to visualize it.
And I had it here. This ain't good.
No, you good. We're going to talk about it, though.
We're definitely going to talk about it. It's Suicide Squad, of course.
Yes.
Suicide Squad. I had Suicide Squad up here, but it's, for some reason, it's not playing. You know what? I'm going to grab it right here. I'm going to do it on the fly, live, because I might as well. Like, I have to.
That's what we do. We go live. We freestyle off the top.
Anyway,
from the era of freestyle. You should know this.
So, yeah, exactly. So this Suicide Squad, a lot of people are talking about it. Yes. What do you think about the looks of Suicide Squad right now?
It look okay. I mean, again, I wasn't like super wild. It looks fun, but at the same time, I know the one thing that's going to piss people off is when they see, like gear score type stuff, when they see kind of live servicey kind of elements, especially coming off of like a game like Marvel's Avengers and things that nature. It's not going to sit well with a person who just wants like the traditional standard story experience. So it's going to be up to them to prove that it still has that the traditional style of gameplay is prevalent. But to be honest, I wasn't as hard on it as everybody else. Like everybody else is like, yo, what are they doing? And I get it. But for me, I'm like, all right, I just got to get more information once I get my hands on it. Let me see what's up. But I'm curious about you, Fonz. I think I have a feeling where you're going to go.
Well, you have Rocksteady. You have the developers that gave us some of the best games in the Arkham series. And then they come back with a looter shooter, basically, complete with damage numbers, complete with everybody's favorite, a battle pass. and you're just kind of wondering to yourself, what's going on here? This looks nothing like the Arkham series. And it's not a bad thing necessarily, because you want to see developers branch out, make new games, new IP. It's always something. It's good when they get creative. But is this where we wanted to see them go? And I think no. I think that this is not what people want from Rocksteady. And for most of our games, we did not want another live service game, I don't think. I hope it works out for him, Cog, but I have a bad feeling about this. I have a bad feeling about this game. Just based off of what I'm seeing in the community, based off of what I'm seeing written in the comment section on these trailers for this game, people are not happy about this. And I don't know, man.
Listen, I get it. I completely get it. And here's the thing. We do understand that there's a business to this thing. And everybody's trying to catch that live service wave. And they're looking at that revenue. But to your point, especially coming from the Arkham series, coming from those classics, I completely understand the base. Like, yo, fam, this ain't it. This is not what we want. I get it. You know what I mean? It's going to be on them to prove that this gameplay is good and that it's going to hold up and it's going to have that addicting gameplay loop. But people, listen, I know I'm in the minority. The majority of people agree with you. The majority of people are like, nah, this is not what I want. When I saw, Suicide Squad, it's going to be on them. You're
right. I mean, look, the gameplay aspect, the gameplay loop or whatever, it could be fun. It could be. Chat, honestly, it could be. But the fact that this is more of a looter shooter, you can't take that away from it. You can't take the damage numbers. You can't take the battle pass. You can't take any of that away from it. And this is what a lot of people are upset about. And Colt, I see you in the chat. He says, but we ended up liking Gotham Knights. He and we both ended up liking that game.
I remember how they was getting dragged.
But here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. That game is more like Arkham than this game is. It's crazy how this is so different. But
we got all right. Let me talk.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We OGs. You know how we are. We stuck in our ways. We like what we like, and I respect it. And the thing for them is they're gonna have to prove that this new formula is addictive and fun. And I tell you what, if it's fun, it's gonna pop. I don't know if it is. I'm just saying if it's fun and it hits its marks, people are gonna play it and it's gonna rock. But it's clear that this is a shift. What I'm trying to get at, there's a shift in game development going on right now. And unfortunately, with the amount of resources and money you put in to make the traditional Arkham style stuff that we like, that single player, that tight experience, that open world, all that stuff that we like, we got to be real too. There is a risk if you flop. So a lot of these companies now are like, well,
Yeah.
okay, well, maybe if we go this live service, and yes, they may be chasing a wave, you know what I'm saying, catching them, and they could fall right on their face, and you can come right back to me and say, Cog, you see, I told you this was the wrong direction. I gotta see. I'm willing to give it a shot because there's a part of it that looked fun, but I feel you though.
But sometimes it's like this, like we're taking established characters, and what is it? 4 different characters in this game you can play as? I'm not sure, but you got Harley, you got Boomerang, you got the shark face guy. I don't know what his name is, but anyways, you got these certain people that you're going to play as that we've already seen and known about from the movies and also the comic books. How much really are you going to change up? See, the beauty in, say, something like a Destiny or other looter shooters is that you're taking these unknown characters and building them as your own. And there's so many different, there's varied weapons. There's so many different costumes and stuff to put on, the gear and all that. Like, I don't know what they're going to do with this game to make it very, very replayable. And that's what the looter shooter genre needs. It needs to be replayable. And can they do that with well-established DC characters
Good point.
that we already know? I don't know. They could, maybe they could, but it's going to be tough for them, I think.
No, that's a valid point. And I think that's your strong argument, because at the end of the day, it is that. And it's like, we're going to have gear score over Superman head. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're going to have, like,
Yeah.
I know where you're going,
Yeah.
trying to looter shooterify established characters. And to be honest, I remember when The Division came out and there was some people struggle with the fact that I'm shooting another human being 1,000 times and that you just see numbers. It broke that sense of realism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So no, trust me, I hear you.
Yeah.
That's going to be on them, man. And I don't know how they solve that, but
hopefully, hopefully they do. I mean, because I don't want to see any developer fail. Never do.
Yeah,
I just think that I think they made a mistake with this one. I really do. Danny Passion Official, thank you very much for celebrating 1 month here at GTL. He says, I'm so happy to be playing on PC for the past 3 months. Series X is becoming my third place to play. PC first, then Steam Deck, secondary. XSX it's great. But yeah, apparently that's, not where he's choosing to play his games anymore. And I totally get it. If you've got a really powerful machine, which you do, I've seen your specs and stuff, you're having a great time over there. I get it. First off, I can't afford that kind of machine, sir. But second, yeah, I like the ease of console and stuff. I have a great time with it, but more power to you, man. I don't hate where anybody plays. Have fun wherever you play your game. Mark Legendary drops. Mark, thank you very much. He says, consoles are great. Been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for almost 2 years. Just saying.
Talk that
So
talk.
so you're just throwing it in our face that we just now get to play it, huh? Randy G, thank you very much for the super chat. He says, I have a 3090 Ti PC and in games still drops frames on my games. Oh, wow. They still drop frames even on his 3090. These analysts show a small part of games. No game stays locked at 60 in its entirety. No, it depends on your not only your specs there, but also how you're driving that, those components that you have. So if you've got really ultra high graphic settings and you're doing all that full ray tracing and stuff, sure, I could see it being, a problem and bogging down your frame rates. But in the end, you can take a computer like that and play all your games and be well above 60 the whole time. I guarantee it. You don't have to just max out all your settings. You don't have to do that.
Nah, I feel you, bro.
But yeah, man, I appreciate the super chats, guys. But yeah, more power to these guys. Hopefully they do better. Hopefully they deliver with this game, at least in the gameplay department. I'd like to have some fun with it. We'll see. I'm not buying it day one. I don't know about you. I'm going to wait for reviews and stuff. If my friends are having fun with it and they're like, hey, this is really good, and I trust, you know, some of my friends out there anyway. I trust some of you. Like shout out to Colt. He plays a lot of
Salute.
games that I like as well.
Mhm.
He told me about Gotham Knights. So did Zocker, and they were right. It was fun.
Okay.
It was a fun game. So I picked it up.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with it. Me and you in the same pocket there. I'm on some wait and see.
Yep.
I'm not running out there day one on this for sure. But if the reviews come back strong, and the reviewers are people I trust, like you said, say yo, Doc Ock, it's fun, it's cool, it's really underrated. Yeah, then I'll give it a shot. But if I hear yup, it's another Avengers, another live service bungle. Nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? So yeah, this is one that I kind of wish this would have been the beauty of Game Pass if they would have had a bag. Because I'd have been like,
Yeah.
all right, I'll
Yeah.
try it off the rip, but I'm not running out paying 70
Yeah.
off the strength of this. Like I just gotta see, I gotta get more reviews on this.
Yeah. Now that's the one place I will say, guys, talking about how sometimes the PlayStation 5 versions of multiplats perform better. If it's on Game Pass, I ain't complaining over here. I'm happy. Okay. So like Wo Long, if it's performing a little bit better on the PlayStation 5, if I got it on Game Pass, I'm not saying a word about it.
I literally had this discussion with King just now. He was just like, bro, like, I get it. And again, we're not making excuses for poor performance. We're just making, as a consumer, as a gamer, I gotta go where the value is for me first. And it's a no-brainer on where I'm getting Wo Long at. So.
Yep. Same here. Same here. As far as that discussion, the state of play, it wasn't very good, in my opinion, guys. If I had to rate this, it would really be like a 4 out of 10. It wasn't very good at all to me. Xbox signs a COD deal with everybody, people. Everybody except for Sony. They pretty much said, we are going to sign 10-year deals for COD with anybody out there who wants to do it. Any of our competitors. They had the deal out there for Sony. What was his name?
Brad Smith, right?
Brad Smith. He had the deal up. He's like, we can Word document this. We could change it right here, right now, if you need some changes, but I've got it here. Sony, sign it. And he refused to sign it. They refused to sign it. They've refused to even hear anything else on this matter, because we'll get into it. But I feel, I don't know. Let me ask what you feel, Cog. What do you feel about this deal? What do you feel about them going out there? Mr. Smith, he's a lawyer, so he knows what he's doing. Going out there and just putting it out there to everybody, showing everybody, look, we're willing to let everybody have COD. What do you think about this?
Look, the one part of it, I understand, it's up to Microsoft to alleviate to the regulators that we are not trying to harm competition, right? That's their whole thing. This is why, look, we're going to put COD everywhere. We're going to put COD on Nintendo. We're going to put COD on NVIDIA and GeForce Now. A little bit of it is theatrics, what I'm saying? Little WWE, we got the envelope. We got the envelope right here, Sony. Sign on the... Like, you could cut a WWE promo with his little thing on that one. But I thought it was funny. But look, at the end of the day, I think they know what they have to do to try to alleviate the concerns of regulators. I'm going to be real with you, though, Fonz. Like, I feel like the NVIDIA one may be more important than a lot of people are thinking, because I know Nintendo has the consoles, has the platforms, but we also got to be real too from a technical standpoint. Since we're talking about performance, they talk about full featured COD on Nintendo platforms. It would have to be cloud, or it would have to be Nintendo's about to come out potentially with a new Switch or an updated Switch that may be able. Yeah, because
you're not putting COD today on the Switch today. Like it's not happening.
Exactly.
So can you imagine like a 240p COD? Like
how that's running? How
did they get The Witcher 3 on there? That's
true.
really a technical marvel.
And then from an online and their whole online situation, you got to get the two cans, and how Switch is with the online voice chat and all that other stuff, which is essential to COD, which I also think is hilarious.
Just terrible, yeah.
Yes, but the most important part of the deal that I feel that I think that they did accomplish their goal is with NVIDIA. And as a techie, I've used GeForce Now, and I got to keep it a buck for us. Like, even before early, I haven't played it. I haven't used it like in the last couple of months. But I'm going to tell you right now, GeForce Now you're utilizing like a 4090 streaming. Yeah. I remember playing Destiny and all that stuff, basically not feeling the latency as much. And I remember like, yo, this is kind of a little low-key superior to the xCloud experience. I got to be real.
Really?
So,
but it's local, isn't it? It's local.
No, it's streaming. It's
Yeah,
streaming,
yeah,
but
but it's local though.
oh, you mean
It's
local? Yeah, to a
in your
local. Yes, I know what
house,
you
right?
right.
Like,
No, but you could do mobile. You could
oh,
do
you can.
yes.
Oh, I did not know
GeForce
that.
now,
Oh, I did
bro,
not know that.
PC,
See?
mobile, or any device. They are outside and they were out there for a long time. So if you're talking about putting Xbox games on that, which is a competing streaming service. See, this is to me their strongest argument
Yeah.
because the FTC was like, yo, you guys are to some, which I think there's some truth to it. It's the only thing I give the FTC. There is some truth to say, okay, when they say this is a new emerging market, this is a nascent market streaming, right? You guys got Azure, you got all these servers. If you got Call of Duty on this, you guys would be the most dominant thing and no one be able to compete in streaming. I do think there's some truth to that, right?
Yeah.
So now if you say, okay, FTC, we got our competitor, we're going to give our games and Call of Duty to our competitor to
Yes.
show you that we are not trying to dominate the market. I think that's a compelling argument. And then the last point that people are not seeing is that I don't know if this is a speculation from Kyle, but I don't know if Nintendo made the call because remember, Nintendo has NVIDIA. That Tegra chip is in the Switch,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because remember, NVIDIA wasn't on board at first. They were not. They were part on the Google and
Yeah,
the,
they were talking bad about Microsoft taking the acquiring Activision. Yeah, I remember.
Absolutely. So now you get them to flip in court.
It's huge.
It's huge. So the key is, will all of this ultimately be enough for regulators to say, okay, Microsoft, this is what it is? Phil and them seem confident. The saga continues, but yeah, I thought it was. I
don't see why else. Like, what else they would need to see that Microsoft. Well, first of all, the whole monopolizing thing was just ridiculous to begin with. To call Microsoft a potential monopoly when it comes to gaming, because they brought up this graph that a lot of people were upset about, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, this graph, of course, for European Economic Area market share as of 2022, just last year, Sony has an 80% dominance over Microsoft with just 20%. And a lot of people out there kept bringing up Nintendo. Okay, why didn't they put Nintendo here? That's not right, because Nintendo needs their fair share. No, not even PlayStation views Nintendo as a competitor. They said it themselves, by the way. So why would they put Nintendo there? Nintendo's not the one standing in their way either. So there's two reasons right there why Nintendo was not shown on that graph. This graph is very true. They do only have 20% of the European market to PlayStation's 80. That is very, very telling. And that tells you right there that even with COD, they're still not going to take over the European market. Still not going to happen. They're not going to take over the Japanese market with COD. They're not taking over most of the other countries' markets with COD. It's not happening. But what it will do, and this is the one thing that I preach, is this will cause PlayStation to do more. This will
explain this to me, because I've been trying to get this point across to me. I want you to explain it to me.
So basically, now you be competitive, and you've got something, say, like COD, that PlayStation can no longer money hat, let's say. Okay, they want ways to make even more revenue. They want that reoccurring revenue that they used to get. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to make their own type of game, their own type of COD.
Make multiplayer games outside.
You got to make exactly.
Oh, wow, that is a novel thought. So
this is what we're on the same wavelength here, Lord. We know what it's going to do. It's that competitive thing that we want to see these companies to do. And I know all of you are like, well, it's not PlayStation that needs to compete. It's Xbox. No, it's both of them.
Agreed.
If you allow Xbox to do this, it's going to light a fire under your ass as well, PlayStation. And you're going to get out there and explore different genres, because you do need different genres. You've relied heavily on the multi-plats for so many years to just plug in between your over-the-shoulder action-adventure third-person games, okay? You've relied on that too long, and now it's biting you in the butt. Somebody's come along and taken a lot of those games from you that you can no longer have marketing deals with. You can no longer money hat those games. So yes, for you PlayStation fans, it'll behoove you to see this deal go through. As a PlayStation fan myself, I want to see this go on because I know they will do even more for us.
Agreed. And here's the thing: as a PlayStation fan, you're not going to lose Call of Duty, right? That's
Yeah.
the thing, because ideally, it is a legacy game. It is a massive game to say, okay, this will just be exclusive to an Xbox platform or a service. I get that part, but I'm with you. I'm from the era, like, I don't have a problem when Sony makes exclusives either. Right. So to me, it's like, okay, the Xbox, what are you going to do? Right. So when it comes down to ownership and buying a company and they say, okay, this is what's going to happen, it's going to be in Game Pass. And now you can't rely on your third party deals to just have multiplayer games. Now, guess what? You got a treasure trove of multiplayer games. You got Killzone, you got Resistance, you got SOCOM, you've got a plan. Even they got Bungie, right, to make these live service games and these multiplayer games and help them direct it. So it shows that they know that they're deficient in that space.
And
so
why did they pick up Bungie? We both know why. It's not for Destiny. It's not just for Destiny, guys.
Correct.
It's for their expertise in that genre.
Yes, that is an admission that there is a deficiency with them in that genre. And they're looking for Bungie's guidance to say, help us make these multiplayer experiences, these live service experiences. Because let's be honest, as great as the Sony template is, at some point it becomes a redundancy with hashtag just one, right? The over the shoulder, the third part. You have to have, and here's the thing. As much as people, clown it, I'm not even the biggest Sea of Thieves fan, but I know what's revenue, how much Sea of Thieves is getting. You know what I mean? When these games hit, what the effect can be. And that's why executives, you see in Suicide Squad chasing the bag of live service now, right? You see in all these companies trying a little bit to chase it. So I'm with you, brother. I don't, when it comes down to the competition part, that's why part of me just stays quiet, because I want this thing to be over, because I'm with you on a pure common sense. You have the market leader who is dominating, right? Like, I don't get how that is harming competition when the person who is third place now acquires COD. They're still not going to be in the generation. That's not going to flip, and now they are automatically number one because of COD. I just don't see it.
What Microsoft did here was the best tactic they could have, the best angle they could have gone after, and it's that market share.
Yes.
It's showing that, hey, we're not the monopoly here. We're not going to monopolize this industry just based off this game, this acquisition. And sure, there's other games involved. There's huge games involved. We've got Activision Blizzard. We've got freaking King. Everybody forgets about the mobile space, which is a big money generator. That's huge for Microsoft as well. That mobile space that they want to really penetrate, and they finally went pause. But yeah, they want to get in there.
They're gonna get in there.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's there's so much there riding for Microsoft, but also PlayStation gamers as well. There's a lot of good that can come out of this, because who doesn't want SOCOM back? Who doesn't want some of these old franchises back that Sony can resurrect to help them out in these areas? I mean, they had so many great games that we're just wondering, why are they just sitting on them? But
absolutely.
Let me get to some of these super chats. Hargeet Chani, thank you very much, bro. He says, at this point, I'm not buying Suicide Squad. Fail. So
I feel you, brother. I feel you.
Right now, I'm not buying it right now either, until I see more or hear more from friends, honestly. Daddy Passion Official, thank you very much again, brother. He says, doesn't Wolong have a day one patch? I'm sure it will. Most games do. Most games nowadays have day one patches, so we don't know if it's going to fix the performance issues on either console or whatever. Sure, it could happen. But my whole beef with that, Danny, was the fact that I'll wait to buy a game, because I hardly ever pre-order games anymore. So I'll wait to buy a game until I can play it that day. But by the time I buy it, I got to wait for Digital Foundry to come out with their analysis a lot of these times. And then I don't know that I bought the worst version. It sucks. But yeah. Danny Passion Official again. Thank you very much, brother. He says, I was expecting Lord Cognito to launch at my name.
Yeah, yeah, yo, your name is wild funny to me.
Why
First,
is
it's
that?
like one of them R&B singers. Daddy Pass.
Well,
He's
you look at
official.
his
They
little
call him Daddy Pass.
avatar
And then
too,
the
bro.
avatar,
He
bro,
looks like he's just about to cut a record, right?
yeah,
It's
the
perfect.
album was about to drop. Heavy about to do a joint with I'll Be
Yeah.
Sure. Like Daddy Passion
He is
official.
he is a videographer though. I think
No
he
doubt,
does
absolutely.
something in the industry. He's pretty
You can tell. You can tell. That's why
pretty
I love
experienced for
teasing him.
sure.
No doubt.
Mark from Legendary Drops. Thank you very much, Mark. He says ABK wants this deal too. Yeah, that's true. That's another aspect of this thing. Activision has been talking about how they want this deal to go through. They all voted on this. They want Microsoft to take over, right?
And here's the thing. I just want to say one thing. I know we're going
Go
long,
ahead.
but
Go ahead.
it's like, bro, like the thing that bothers me, and a lot of people, I see some of the comments, and, you know, this purity talk and doing it the right way, and Microsoft just buying their way. Okay, fine. Let's just say you feel that way. But the thing that bothers me, no one talks about the conditions at Activision. No one talks about how
Mhm.
someone took their life, how it was a frat culture, how there was
Yep.
abuse, how people were crunching it,
Truth.
unhappy conditions, and how they want change. No one's talking about that. It's just that I don't want, the person, I don't want Microsoft to have it kind of thing. And that's the thing where that really bothers me a
Well, who
little
do
bit
they
because
want?
it's like,
10 cent?
preach, bro. That's
10
what I'm.
cent?
Who if Activision goes under, what's the alternative? Who else do we want acquiring it? And that's the thing. Again, I understand everybody's repping for the set. You repping your blue, and I get it. You repping your green. But we got to talk about the human element. No one's talking about that. People could lose their jobs, and also the conditions that are currently at stake are not good. So if you're asking me, anybody, I would prefer Microsoft be the acquirer than a 10 cent because we
Yeah,
we all know
of
what
course.
happens over there with your ideas and your ideology with your games. So
Mhm.
keeping in mind.
Thank you very much to East Texas Alex for becoming a supporter of the channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Mark finishes this off by saying, what do you think their attitude there at Activision Blizzard would be towards Sony if the deal falls through?
Whew, yeah,
That's a pretty good question. What do you think?
I had this talk with Maddie. It'll be interesting. Look, dude's expecting, Bobby Kotick expecting his golden parachute, if the deal was to go through. So now let's say it gets blocked. And now, Activision has to go status quo and still working with Sony. You can't tell me that the relationship on some level is not fractured on some level, right? So again, not that they're going to do some business is business. You're not going to necessarily like, okay, now effectively we're going to pull off Call of Duty from PlayStation platforms. But I do feel there will be a human element in some aspect may change, or as far as when the deal ends, when the marketing deal ends, right? What happens then? Then the second part is, what does Microsoft do? Do they now, okay, we shot our shot, we're not doing the big publisher thing anymore. Do we go smaller? We get the Asobos or we get a Sego, because speaking with Hogue, I even asked him, I was like, look, let's just say the deal goes through. Does that preclude Microsoft from getting another publisher? Like they have to stop, right? And he said, no, it's really just that dollar sign. Once you start talking 66 billion, that's when all the flags and all the scrutiny and all the spotlight becomes on you. But if it's a lower deal, as you see when Sony acquired Bungie for whatever, 300 million, whatever it was, there was no hoopla. There was no, okay, let's do an investigation. It literally comes down to the scope and the money. And that's what it is. So,
Yeah, but
yeah.
I understand there's more nuance to his question, right? Because if you or more nuance to an answer you can give here, because if you think about it, like if Activision, if they really voted there that they really wanted to go ahead and get acquired by Microsoft and this deal falls through, don't you think that some developers there might have a little, I know it's business. Business is business, and they're always going to conduct wherever the money's at. But there's probably going to be some people that feel a little bit scorned if it doesn't go through.
Yeah, no,
Because the
absolutely.
alternatives, like you say, that could possibly happen to them, are pretty dire. So
No, absolutely. Absolutely. And then most likely, Bobby would stay in position, right?
that part
And
too.
yeah, that part. And
Yep.
we know the scrutiny, kind of there. It's not all roses in that building, according to the reports and everything we hear. Yeah, that's the part I don't know, brother. I just got to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's the
It's going to
part.
be really
Yeah.
interesting. It's going to be
Yeah.
really interesting. And I know a lot of us are like, we're tired of hearing about this ABK deal. We are too. Me and Cog are
Same,
too. But at the same
same.
point, what happened recently
Mhm.
had to be talked about because it was pretty big. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's the right angle for Microsoft to go after, and it's this whole anti-competitive thing because this is what the FTC is suing about,
Mhm.
and it just destroys that angle. It
Oh, for
destroys
sure.
it.
For sure.
East Texas Alex, thank you very much. He gifted 5 memberships to various people in the chat, like I see here, Purple Tree Frog and who is it? Low Tier Gamer, Tony
Mhm.
Grosso, Devil Red, and Charlie Hustle. Thank you very much for that, East Coast, East Texas Alex. I appreciate that. That was awesome. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, that's
You
what's
can
up. I
gift
didn't know either.
memberships. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
no, that you can do that. Yeah, that I know.
Wow,
You could definitely do that. Mhm.
that's pretty cool. I appreciate that a lot, man. That was really cool. And for you guys that are now members, thank you for being here. I appreciate you.
Salute, salute.
Outside of that, though, we will get a COD on Nintendo at some point someday.
Mhm.
And I think that'll be the next one. Let me ask you something real quick about that. Nintendo Switch, they've got to do something different next time around. No, don't get me wrong. Handhelds are here to stay, I think, for them because this
Yes,
is their bread and butter. This is where they shine.
I agree.
But do you think we're going to get a handheld that's going to be pretty, at least competitive? Is it going to be powerful at all? Like, and I say competitive, not
I
monetarily,
know.
because we know they make a lot of money over there with the Switch, but I
Mhm.
want to see them compete and get multiplats again. Like, I
I'm
want to
with
see
you.
them really make some good, have some good games outside of
Bro,
their own.
I'm with you. I think Nintendo with power is a scary thing. I've always wanted to see that. It's going to be interesting because look, we already know these devs work in sorcery just to even bring some of these ports over on the Switch in the first place. But at some point, they're at the what is it, 6 years now? They coming towards the end of that
It
cycle.
is,
You know,
yeah.
Tears of the Kingdom is kind of like probably the last hurrah on the platform. You know, one, listen, if you're making a deal, if you're Nintendo and you're making a deal with Xbox to get Call of Duty on your platform, you have to have things in place from a technical standpoint
Yeah.
to compete. So to your question, I would hope that NVIDIA has that Tegra 3 or the Tegra 2, whatever this new Tegra
Tegra
chip,
3, here we
you know what
go.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? Get it
Yeah.
ready to
It better
go.
be Tegra 6 by this time. Like, by this point. Come on.
Bro, I
They need to
need some
step it up big time
fidelity.
because that Switch, man. Some of
Oh,
those games. We talk about performance issues. Whew.
mhm.
Did you see
Yeah,
that Pokemon? Oh man.
that
My
Pokemon
son
looks
played
stupid.
through that game, beat it, loved it, but said, "Yeah,
Mhm.
that performance issue is terrible."
Terrible. Yeah, it's to that point now. It has shown its age, and I'm with you though. I think they would be stupid to go away from this form factor. Like to me, they have the form factor. They have, if you
Yep.
want to stay with the dock and they got a portable that does, yeah, just upgrade that chipset. You know, have a modern online capable device with voice chat and messaging and a
Real voice
service,
chat. Yeah. Yeah.
real voice
Yeah.
chat. You know what I'm saying?
Even if
And
they
you
want
get,
to integrate Discord into it, that'd be
bro.
nice. You know, it'd be
I,
better than what they've got now. Are you still
I
like user 456289 friend code? Yeah. Are you?
bro, with the social security numbers, bro.
Oh my God.
Come
Yeah.
on, Nintendo. So yeah, and I will say that to their credit, and I always tell this story. You know, one of my moments at E3, this was like right before Control released, and it was kind of like a behind the scene. Lords of Gaming .net. I'm like, it's a big get to go see see the game before it was released and announced. And I never forget, Fonz, like next gen consoles at the time, right? Only. I'm like, why is Reggie Fils-Aimé here? Reggie Fils. I'm like, what is Nintendo doing? They can't run this. But little did I know, at the time they were already working on a cloud version to come to the
Mm,
Switch, and I played the cloud version of Control. So Nintendo, to their credit, has been thinking in that way. So it makes sense. Nvidia, GeForce Now, Xbox, Azure.
gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? They're making sense
Yeah.
to afford it. So maybe they don't go the full hardware tilt that we may want, but they may say, okay, we have this cloud option to play these really robust games that we know our console can't handle. So we'll see.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And in the future, I'm just talking about their next console. Please, Nintendo, please make something that's got some power.
Yes,
We want to see
please.
that
Mhm.
because we used to have great versions of multiplats back in the day, even on the GameCube. The GameCube
Yes.
had some stellar titles on there.
Mhm.
Resident
For
Evil
sure.
4, I believe. Played that
Ooh,
on there.
yeah, remember the photorealistic, the little pre-rendered joint? Yeah, that was really nice. And I think they had was it Resident Evil 0?
They
Those games really shined.
Yeah. And the last time we had a Call of Duty at all of any type was Wii U, I believe. Wii U.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. A
Yeah.
long time
And
ago.
boy, that was trash.
Yeah, that
The
was
Wii U
super
was super bad. And so was that Call of Duty. Anyways, it's been very awesome to have you, Cog. Seriously,
no
it's
love,
always a pleasure to have you on. I'm
love,
glad
brother.
this is like now your 10th hour today of podcasting because you guys did like a marathon today.
Yeah, we did
It was
well.
a long one, bro. Because I remember seeing that you guys were on. Like I said before the show, I didn't listen in because I didn't want to. I didn't want to just hear
Have the
some of the
same
stuff
thoughts.
and,
Yeah.
just say the same things you guys said or whatever. So I wanted to stay away from that. But then I tuned back in later on to see if you were on, and you guys were still on, and I was like, "Holy crap! What is this?" How long were you guys on for today?
We had a little 4.5.
4.5 hours. Wow.
Little light 4.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I miss my bros. We ain't talking a while. Then it was spicy. It was a little spicy today.
guys, if you, I don't know, you'll be living under a rock if you have not watched the Iron Lords podcast, but I do implore you to go watch them every Sunday. They're amazing. Watch them. Also, shout out to Delilah HD in the chat.
Yeah,
Grown Women Gaming podcast every Saturday on YouTube. Check them out. Grown Woman Gaming. It's right here on YouTube. Really good stuff. And I believe they are on streaming platforms as well, by the way. So are the Iron Lords podcast. So if you're listening to this, go tune into those two podcasts as well. Love all these people. This community is awesome. I love everybody in the chat here today is just awesome. Thank you very much for being here. And Cog, tell everybody where they can find you and all that good stuff.
Oh, before I do that, listen, man, salute to the homie, Jay Fonzarelli, man. Like one of the early believers, I really appreciate our friendship, brother. You know what I'm saying? You have no idea how much respect I have for you. I love seeing you doing your thing. I love that we could, it's been a minute, but we could get together,
It's been a while.
talk that talk. And it's always fun when I have time to do it because I do miss this. I do miss guesting. And I try to make it a little bit better, like maybe once a month, every 2 months or so. Get on the show, talk that talk. So thank you for having me, brother. That's number one. So that's salute. Salute to the chat. I see you, Code. I see Bab, I see a lot of people in there, so that's love. But for me, at Lord Cognito on Twitter, you already know, Iron Lord podcast. Every Sunday is the Lord's Day, 1 p.m. Eastern. Go check us out. Just did some interviews I'm really proud of. The Cliff Blazinski interview was a bucket list interview.
Amazing.
To talk to him. And also, I highly advise, check out our Hi-Fi Rush interview with John Johannes. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the transition from Mikami and pitching this whole idea of this rhythm action game. He gave us gems. He gave us bars. The Lord's got a lot of stuff cooking. And also, if you want an Xbox very specific show, but most people say, oh, it's possible we ain't going to go there. But you can catch me with Mr. Matty Plays, Defining Duke, LSM fam. We talk that talk there. And if you want a little Destiny action, you know what I'm saying? You want to get ready for Lightfall because we got to get Fonz back. We got to get him with the Strand. We got to get him. You got cyberpunk themes. Come on, Fonz. You got cyberpunk themes. You ain't a little tempted.
You know what's hard about getting back into Destiny? The fact that I've been away for so long and I go back and there's so much to get done. And I'm like, where do I start?
They got a boost for you. You come back, you get automatically at the
I know, but there's so much stuff. There's gear, there's weapons, there's things out there that I don't have. And it's like, the haves and have nots. And it's like you try to go on a raid with somebody and you don't have.
But everybody's day one with the new content. You come with the new expansion. Everybody get the new stuff at the same time. We see if we get
see this. You see this? You see what he's doing? Yeah, I get. Man,
so we do last word.
But the last slide is good. Last slide. It looks nice. It looks nice.
Last shout out I want to give out. Shout out to the home team, lordsofgaming.net, man. I'm so proud of these guys, and girls.
Yes.
At the end of the day, what we're building and getting the respect from a journalistic standpoint is really impressive. And to see our growth there, like they make us look good. So
lordsofgaming.net. It's also in the description, folks. So if you want to check out their one-stop shop for all your gaming news, it's right there at lordsofgaming.net as well. Like you said, I even wrote an article for him at one time.
Yes, you are a contributor. You have a byline.
I was there, and you can look that up. But shout out to Saw for being the guy that had to proofread my stuff and say, you need some serious work on this. But Man, I loved it. I loved every bit of that. It was a fun situation to go through. Never did it again after that because I was so strict. So strict. But no, you got to be in this game. In the journalistic game, you got to be strict. You got to have that tight writing. And it was very good. It was a good experience. Anyways, check him out there, lordsofgaming.net. Check him out on Defining Duke with Last Stand Media, also with Mr. Matty Plays. And, of course, the Iron Lords podcast. And check me out next Sunday. I will be back with a brand new guest. You guys may or may not know him, but he's part of the gaming community. But he's somebody I've not had on, and he's a very interesting guy. I like his stuff. I dig his channel. So
we holding that. We keeping that secret.
We're holding it. We're holding it.
Okay, we holding it.
Okay,
okay.
But it's going to be very good. It'll be a very good show. Until next week, guys. Oh, real quick, I got a super chat.
Sub 4T, what up?
Oh, wait, am I still there?
No, you still there? You still there? I got you.
Oh man, my whole computer, both my monitors just blanked. Oh,
for a second,
man.
they went out,
or and they came back.
Okay,
they came back. Okay, good. This is Ham from TSWS Gaming. I've been on his show before as well. He does a great little podcast there as well on his channel. Check him out. He says, 2 dope bros. I'm gonna have you on as well, Ham. I got to have you on.
I got to do his show too.
Yeah. He's a good dude. Yeah, you need to definitely do his show. He's got a cool little thing there too. He does some little trivia stuff too. And let me tell you, I was horrible on it. Like I told you, deer in headlights. As soon as they ask me questions, then like 5 minutes later, I get the answer, and I start yelling the answer like after the game.
After the J, yeah. You know how it go.
No, Gaz is not the guest next week. It's a brand new guest. He's never been on my show. But anyways. Guys, until next week, game on.